Deputy Dara Calleary has 3 minutes.
Thank you, Laskin Curler. It is now 8 days since the news of Vicky Phelan's case came into the public domain. 8 days since her amazing courage and her determination to speak the truth alerted the country and alerted thousands of women across the country to the absolute dereliction of duty and responsibility that Cervical Check and the HSE unleashed on Vicky Phelan and on her family and on possibly thousands of others. In that 8 days, there has been an enormous sense of worry and concern and anger across the country. Many women are petrified that they will be affected by this and are trying to get answers and are trying to get information. But despite that need for answers and that need for information, there has been no sense of urgency in providing those answers and in providing those information. Over that 8 days, we have learned that in the cases of at least 208 women who were diagnosed with cervical cancer, an original smear test had falsely given them the all-clear. 17 of those women have passed away. Only 2 of those women were informed about the false positive before they passed. The other 15 weren't. And instructions were issued by somebody to note on their file about the false audit, but not to brief their families. 8 days on, that there are still, we understand, another 38 of those 208 women who have yet to be informed about their smear test being wrong. Why the delay in informing these 38 women? And we also know that there are potentially another 1,500 women who have been diagnosed with cervical cancer over the past 10 years whose original smear was not audited. Information only given to Minister Harris apparently last Tuesday evening, 2 weeks after the department became aware of the gravity of this case. Again, I ask, why the delay? For many women, their first point of contact to get the information was their GP. If they got an appointment with their GP, they found that Cervical Check only actually formally contacted GPs this morning, 8 days later, and they provided a completely innocuous update which provided no new information to the thousands of GPs around the country who are struggling to deal with this. Again, I ask, why the delay? Many other women, over 6,000 we're led to believe, have contacted the helpline, yet many are still waiting for a callback from a healthcare professional, and it was only last night, another week into this, that the Minister allocated 40 nurses to deal with this backlog. Again, why the delay? There's no sense being given to women of this country that somebody in government or the HSE is actually in charge of this situation. There's no sense that somebody understands the trauma that women are going through without lack of information and the concern that they and their families have. And I have a number of questions I'd like you to answer to assist in alleviating that worry. When will the 38 remaining women who have yet to be informed of their audit be informed? Secondly, will all of these women receive medical supports and full medical supports? I'm aware of at least one of these women whose medical card was withdrawn in the past number of weeks by HSE medical cards and who are being put through the ringer to provide information. Yet she was able to get a phone call recently to tell her about her false positive. When will the families of the 15 deceased women be formally contacted to advise them that their loved one was the subject of a false audit? When will the helpline callbacks be completed? When will women get the information that they are looking for from a healthcare professional? The Taoiseach announced that women could have new smear tests undertaken. That is a welcome development. Will these smear tests be audited in a different laboratory from those that are currently being used to audit smear tests? Taoiseach, have you full confidence in the ability of the Director General of the HSE to actually restore confidence in our cancer screening programme? And would you not agree that, given the scale of the job to restore that confidence, that you should step aside from every other interest to concentrate fully on the job? And finally, Taoiseach, Vicky Phelan this morning has called for a scoping inquiry agreed last evening to be held in public. Does the government agree with her? We all have that urgency, and we all have that sense of urgency, and there's an immediate response needed to assist our primary care professionals in dealing with the trauma that many women are feeling, and that hasn't been provided as it needs to be. I welcome your commitment in relation to the public nature of the scoping inquiry. It is important, to use Vicky Phelan's words, that the closed doors are not used anymore, that this is done in public and done in the opening. I want to ask you about comments made by the Secretary-General to the Government this morning at the Public Accounts Committee to Deputy Mark McSharry in relation to sensitive cases. Were the Government alerted some months ago about this case in the context of a sensitive cases update? And I'd ask you to confirm the position of the Director-General of the HSC. What is your current understanding of his position?